Welcome back to Old School Sports and our 2021 season recap and off-season action to prepare ourselves for the 2022 season. You can see that Maxime Cressy is now on holidays, 75th in the world, in top form. His morale is beaming and he's in good shape. So he will be back with us for next season. We signed an agreement with him. At this point, the big question is how much money our board of directors is going to infuse into the academy to help us continue developing things. We've got $65,000 right now. Would guess that it's going to be about $500,000 that they infuse, which will definitely help us in terms of recruiting some new staff, recruiting a new player, and hopefully also upgrading our facilities. Because as you can see right now, despite the good season we had, we are barely a 1 out of 5 tennis balls in terms of our global prestige. And, level 2 on our sports center and our business center, still only level 1 on our medical center and youth scouting center. So plenty of areas where we will be able to invest some money to hopefully make things better in the coming months, and over time let us train our players better and also let us attract even more qualified and higher potential players and more of them to work with us in our academy. And the board contribution we got was generous. Was expecting closer to $500,000, but they did give us $300,000 into the academy account, which puts us up over $350,000 as far as our balance. If it was a couple $100,000 more, it would be a little easier for us to decide exactly what to do in terms of our infrastructure. Our plan, quite honestly, was probably going to be to put $270,000 into the business center. I know that seems like a weird thing to be investing the most in, but if we did do that upgrade, you'll see that it puts our average revenues per month up from $7,000 to $17,000. So, in the course of just a couple years, we would be generating all the money to kind of cover what we put into that. But that will also take us down to less than $90,000 in our balance, which may not be enough to keep us afloat when we have a second player on the team and we're adding a scout, an analyst, agent, another trader, and another physio. So I think over the very near term, I'm going to work on trying to recruit for those roles and recruiting a new player to join our team. And then once I see how much we have to pay out in signing bonuses, we'll kind of make the determination on whether we have enough money to invest in the business center or whether we should go in another direction as far as our infrastructure investments. Well, we spent a little time on our staff page, and we do have agreements in principle with several people, a new agent, analyst, and scout to replace the folks who we let their contracts expire, as well as an additional trainer. If we can bring on Cleason, that would be good. You can see very good with mental and tactics, not much with movement and physical abilities, passable with some of the technique type of training, but could be our tactical expert if we are able to bring him on board. And then also have an agreement with Ane Havisto as a potential second physio. You can see very strong ability for her to provide care, which will be helpful to keep our players up and running. Because now we are going to pivot and we are going to start looking for player to join our team. We've scouted a number of players over the years. You can see that we're not scouting anybody right now because we don't actually have a scout, but our goal is to bring on probably one of these young American players who we have scouted to a decent level. Kozlov, Kingsley, Karuna, or Roy Smith. Looks like Kozlov is kind of one of the most experienced with a hardened experience level. He's not affiliated with anyone right now. You can see that Cannon Kingsley is affiliated with the American Federation, so he might be a little harder to get. So Stefan Kozlov, who is currently ranked 367th in the world, very strong physically, pretty solid mentally. It's really his technical skills where he needs to improve, and I think we could certainly help him with that. So he may be an interesting prospect to bring on. So let's go and propose him a contract. His only goal for this coming year is to get to 300th in the world, which we should be able to achieve from 367, get into qualifying for a Grand Slam, get into a final at a 80 to 125 level event, and get to 36th in the nation. Those don't seem like unreasonable goals. Secondary player for 3 seasons sounds reasonable. He's looking for a good-sized signing bonus to join us, but let's see if we bump his revenue share up to half of the money coming to us and drop his signing bonus down a few notches, how he feels about that. Unacceptable, but he's not incredibly annoyed. Contract looks good to him, so we're going to be spending about $25,000 on a signing bonus for him. Obviously had a fair amount of potential signing bonuses, none that large, but signing bonuses nonetheless with the other staff members that we had been talking to. So the $360,000 that we do have definitely has potential to get lower when we sign these folks. Getting new goals from the board of directors now. Keep our current players. We could have 1 departure, have a balance over 0, recruit only players with a different status than secondary player, and then reach level 2 for the youth and scouting center. So we actually just made a offer to Kozlov as a secondary player, so that may not be good for us there. But it's good to know that they want us to reach level 2 for the youth and scouting center, because that may determine where we go with our infrastructure investment, because we know we can get an easy victory on that by doing what they'd like us to. And we are starting to beef up our staff. Clifton agreed to join us as an agent, which will hopefully help us join some or make some money for Maxime over the coming year in terms of better racket and shoe contracts and apparel contracts. Diaz has agreed to join us as an analyst, and Clezon has agreed to join us as a trainer. So that is good progress to have those 3 on board, and they are all now here. With Clezon joining us as a trainer, that will allow us to give someone who can do a much better training game plan than me. I mentioned the whole point in bringing him on board was that he's very good at tactics, and you can see here we'll now have a 3-star tactician working with Maxime rather than me or Cheryl Pitt, who are both only 1 star as far as tactics. So a small step in the right direction in terms of being able to provide better training. And then tactics and mental, Clezon is actually also better than Cheryl Pitt there. So we will assign Clezon there, take off Cheryl, and we're in a better situation for Maxime's training than we were before adding him. And the progress continues with Kimmer Van Dam joining us as a scout. This was one of our bigger signings, 6 of 9 experience level, a very experienced scout from Belgium, 16 in terms of player evaluation. So hopefully that will help us in terms of bringing on players in the future and really knowing who's got the most potential. And speaking of bringing on players, Stefan Kozlov, the second player who's going to be joining our team. looking forward to having him on board. So we're going to sign the contract. So still waiting to hear from physio. So before we start training Stefan up, hopefully we'll have a physio on board to give him some support with his training and his rehabilitation. So we are still waiting for the physio that we provided an offer to sign, but now that Stefan is officially here, we're going to have to recruit a coach for him. In the meantime, we'll divide and conquer with our staff as far as training. Issue now is that Klizan, if we have him do both for Stefan, is getting a little spread too thin in terms of the activities that we have him on. So we'll have Cheryl work on tactics and mental training with Stefan Kozlov. So we need to recruit a coach to work with him. Presumably I'll still stay with Maxime for the time being as my primary protege, but going to work on recruiting a coach for Stefan. Hopefully physio will sign with us shortly, and we are going to start training them both to get ready for the season, and then also look at plan for registration for the first hardcourt season, which is right around the corner. So we have reached an agreement with principal for Murphy Kissel to join us as a potential coach. We'll see whether that goes through or not. And importantly, we did get a positive signing from Ane Havisto, so she will be joining us as a physio. We will get her assigned right away to work with Stefan Kozlov, which is good. Well, we had a couple false starts trying to bring on a second coach to join our team, but finally have an agreement with Michael John Every from Curacao. So he will be joining us. We are going to sign the contract, have him join the team, and he is here. So that lets us assign him to coach Stefan Kozlov. And then how is Michael in terms of tactics? He's actually very good in terms of tactics, so we will let him also work on tactics with Stefan, and then that will allow us to lower Cheryl's workload a level and let Klizan work on tactical and mental training with Stefan. So doing everything possible to maximize the effectiveness of our training team with each player. We are getting, as you can see, it's December 29th, so we are getting near the end of our training in preparation for the upcoming 2022 season. Just you can see the final bits of training that Maxime is working on right now for this week. And then they're each also going to be off the first week of 2022 to just continue training in the academy, hopefully improving their skills, getting into better shape, so we can hit the 2022 season real hard when we do get going. You can see with all the signing bonuses that we paid for the staff that we've added, as well as bring on Stefan Kozlov, we're down to $287,000 for our current balance. Given that upgrading the Youth and Scouting Center to level 2 is a big objective for us, we are going to go ahead and work on that facility. A little disappointing. When we recruited Kozlov, when we started recruiting, he was a secondary player. A day or two after we started recruiting him, the board told us not to recruit any additional secondary players, so they're going to be upset with us on that front. So from that perspective, probably do need to invest in the Youth and Scouting Center just to guarantee that the board of directors remains happy with our work. So we are going to upgrade that. It will give us some basic support structures. If we do upgrade that over time, it'll take about 5 months, so that will be some progress for us. If we do have a big run from either Maxime or Stefan in a tournament where they earn a lot of money, would obviously mean several wins in a Grand Slam event. So at this point in their careers, probably more likely for Maxime than Stefan, but our next investment probably will still be to upgrade the business center. We'd love to get the sports center upgraded and being able to have more staff, an additional player, clay tennis courts, and gym improvements. But we want to make sure that we are on sound financial footing before we move too far forward. So upgrading that business center, which will improve our monthly cash flow, even if our players happen to be having a difficult run and not earning as much money in tournament purse money, I think is just very important to the stability of this tennis academy that we are building. So with that, you can see the calendar has flipped over to 2022. We are finishing up another week of training, but this will be the end of this episode highlighting our off season. Looking at our staff from a high level, you can see that we've upgraded. We used to have level 1 for our agent, analyst, and scout. All of them are better. Brought on a couple of strong physios. We have 3 trainers and then a couple of seasoned coaches, including myself. So the staff is better and the team is also larger. Maxime is ranked 75th in the world as we get ready for the 2022 season, while Stefan Kozlov is 367th, and our goal is to get him into the top 300 in the world this upcoming season. Thanks so much for watching. If you are enjoying the series, would appreciate it if you like, subscribe, and comment below. Have a great day, and we will be back with the start of the 2022 season in our next episode.